just testing out some stuff. Hmm. Alright. I guess we're gonna be doing this. Actually, hold on. Two. Let's see. Hmm. Alright. Okay. What the heck? Okay. Let's see. What can I do right about now? Interesting. Hold on, guys. I was just trying to figure out some stuff here. I'll just mute my mic for a quick second. Alright, I'm back, guys. Alright, still doing Little Cup again. I guess we could do Dynamax on Little Cup, I guess. I just need to go to Amino, share this on Amino.
information here. There we go.
And there we go. Alright. Alright. Let's see. What are you guys doing here? Just chilling. I have to open up like Google real quick so I can like bring up a live chat. Alright, got our Google up and running. What the heck going on here? Internet's going slowly, apparently. But everything should be good on the live chat, so that's great. Everything should be going good on the stream itself. So that's should be good. Okay, let's see what we got here. YouTube Studios. Let's go to YouTube Studios. Again, still don't like YouTube Studios right now. I really have the YouTube Studio Classic. So annoying. So annoying. I don't know why I had to like go back to Studio Classic after I told my reason why I don't like Studio Classic. So stupid. Like it's really stupid. Oh, better. Perfect. I could put it on participants so I know who's coming online. That's cool. Alright. So I know who's participating and who's like actually I guess considered coming online here. Is that how that works? That's probably how it works. I don't know. I'm not sure. Alright, so just waiting for people to get online if we can get any battles. Let's see, what can I do? What can I do? Is there any raids happening? Is there any raids happening? Is this still seeking? Oh, it's not seeking right now. I might switch out some trainer cards then. And we'll just spin here until someone submits their trainer card. Or their league card, I guess you could say. Anyway. Oh, then it reset the just a colossal here. Alright. I'll just do this until we have people online, I guess. You know, I don't think anybody's gonna get on this anyway. Let's just go straight into it. Hmm. Alright, we're gonna post the stream onto another, hopefully they might be able to get something coming out of this one. Okay, let's see what we got here. This should be a done deal. Hmm. Let's see what we got here. Seaball, dynamite candy, some leaf blade, seaball. Yeah, decent. Yeah. It's speed run this now, you know. Huh. Is there no one online? It's so weird. I would think there would be more people here in the wild area. But it seems like there's no one up on here. Hmm. Might as well give dynamite candy to all, all, all of these guys. The house way too many dynamite candy. feel like I guess I could go on to live competition and see if someone wants to battle me in Little Cup. I guess. I guess we could do. Do I want to do casual? I don't think I want to do casual. I'm not trying to deal with the legendary Pokemon. And now I'm at the beginning, level 2. Could be interesting. Let's see what we could get in this battle. Wish I had like a thing that shows me like how many people are KO online. I need that. I wish my freaking what you call it will work. I'm gonna be with you. Okay, it's not bad. Wait, this is the belly drum, right? No, it's not the belly drum. Fuck. Okay. Withdraw. Shoot. Now I don't know if it's fit here. Maybe Asuka. I'm gonna probably set up, try to get one of these Pokemon out on the battle. Toxicity. Okay. I'm gonna Shell Smash. Get an Overdrive. Okay. Curse Body. Okay. Cool. We're gonna go ahead. Baton Pass. Because now we're at +2. So we get the Baton Pass to Kumo here. Poison Jab. Okay, I think I did a good job of switching out there. We're gonna also get another stab. We're gonna get another boost, and then we're gonna get our health back. So once we get our secondary boost, we should be good to go and do some damage. Boom burst. Okay. No, boom burst didn't do anything that I wanted to do. Okay, so that sucks. That was a waste of time, man. I think we should have switched into what you call it. Okay. At that moment in time, I messed up. I honestly messed up. That's for sure. I completely messed up. I'm gonna go for Strange Staff. Try to get the health back and probably lower his attack, his physical attack, I guess. This kind of sucks, though. Not gonna lie, it kind of sucks. But we're gonna Shell Smash again. Because we have at least once or twice be able to somehow take care of this issue here. Gonna go front overdrive. I do survive it. We're gonna go ahead, time pass again. And this time I just go for attacking all my obstacle then. Because it seems like I should have just went for a straight attacking with my Pokemon, but it happened. Yeah, that did a lot of damage. I'm gonna go for the Night Slash. That didn't do as much damage I needed to do. Dang. That sucks. That sucks. I got no other moves to do. I'm gonna have to run. I'm just gonna have to run. No, I did not want to check the opponent's team. I think I knew how the team was working. Could only switch teams though, because I was hoping that would have been the Belladrum Pokemon that I wanted to use, but it's not. I'm assuming I don't have my Belladrum. Yeah, looks like I don't have my Belladrum here. Shoot. What should I use then? I guess I use Team 6 then. Okay. I'm gonna have to lead off with my Gyarados. No. No, no, no. I don't lead off with Gyarados. I lead off with my Poltergeist. Then lead off with Gyarados. Get a double boost from the Poltergeist. And then whatever goes in. And this I just straight up attack. Regardless. That's what I think I should do. Straight up attack regardless. Weakness policy, Tritanitar, and then we should be good G. Possibly good G. Goes for his Gyarados. Okay. I was not expecting Gyarados. We're gonna get a boost. He's gonna go for the Thunder Wave. Alright. Did I get a successful Shell Smash? Nice. I do get a successful Shell Smash. That's good. Let's see. So our +1 plus 2 special attack plus 2 speed. I could Baton Pass. Into goes into Waterfall. Oh shit. Okay. That sucks. That sucks. That definitely sucks. We're gonna have to go into our weakness policy Tritanitar. Hopefully our weakness policy Tritanitar can handle the situation with this Pokemon. We're gonna Dynamax too, just to get the max Rock Wall too. And then if weakness policy does go off, we're still like maybe decently able to handle the situation because we have a little bit more HP to survive whatever water type move comes our way. Goes for the okay, that's cool. Thunder Wave. Okay, cool. Fine. I guess that works. I should have went for the max block if that was the case. What a dick. I mean, let's see what a dick. What a dick. Weakness policy do go off. We do get our boosted attack and boosted special attack. We do take out the Gyarados with a critical hit. Awesome. Not bad. Seems like it kind of was a terrible play at the first part. Now, semi-terrible play at the first part. We have two ways of taking out this Pokemon. I'm just gonna go for the max wall. I'm slow. That's fine. If I can survive this move, and probably be able to take out the second Pokemon. Maybe be able to take out the second Pokemon. Appleton. A +1 attack should be able to take it out. Yeah, alright, cool. So we're able to take out two of this Pokemon. I don't think I'll be able to take out his actual Pokemon at this point in time, because I'm at like 5 HP left. and all he needs to do is probably just like yeah, all he has to do is do one more move. He's pretty much Choice Scarf anyway. He's pretty fast anyway, so still point. And I'm paralyzed, and I'm only at 5 HP, so gives him the guaranteed win, which sucks because the next Pokemon I have to bring in can't deal with this Pokemon at all. Because I'm a flying type, but I mean, even if I am a flying type, I should be able to take ice type moves with the plus one lowered on the attack. Should be able to take this Pokemon out. I'm gonna Dragon Dance. I think it's a bad move, the Dragon Dance, but I'm gonna Dragon Dance. I don't know if this is Choice Scarf or not. I mean, not Choice Scarf, but like a priority move that he has here. If he does have a priority move, then I'm definitely losing this. Yep, definitely losing. Alright, GG. I wasn't gonna win that match. Anyway, any Little Cup people wanna play Little Cup? Anyone? Zero? Nonsense, no? Yeah, maybe so. I didn't want to see his team. Let's switch teams. I'll just pick. I'll pick this team here. And see what happens. Until we get like some Little Cup going on. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Some pretty good, decent squad here. I'm gonna use Felix. I'm gonna use Choice Specs, Togekiss, and Tyranitar, I guess. That's how we're gonna do it. There's no ghost type except for his, you know, Poltergeist. I don't think he's gonna use his Poltergeist though, so we'll see what happens. So now we just wait for this dude to choose his Pokemon or girl, whoever. Hopefully, there we go. I was about to say, like, this person needs to choose now. Alright, go. Let's do this. Okay, I was not expecting this Pokemon to pop out. Lexo. And this is gonna be one of those Guard bulking Pokemon. We're gonna set up no retreat. You're gonna go for Guard. What is that? Guard gets you like +3, right? go for the close combat. That did nothing. What is this nonsense? That did nothing. That did nothing. What the hell? That's crazy. That's crazy. It did nothing. Now he's at +6. Does this thing get like baton pass? I hope this thing does not get baton pass. I would hate for this to get baton pass. Let's try to see if we can flinch it though. I'm always good with getting flinches. We're not able to get a flinch. That sucks. Wow. What a lame-o. What a lame-o. What a lame-o. I'm just hoping they flinch. I'm just hoping to flinch. All I can do now is flinch. And apparently I can't get that percentage for flinching. So that sucks. Such a bulky Pokemon. It's a very bulky Pokemon. Wait, what? Lantern? Hello, Lantern. I don't think Planet is LC. No, I'm not battling anybody right now. I'm just battling on what you call it. I'm just battling on the what am I doing? I'm just battling on at the battle spot basically right now. I'm not battling anybody directly playing Little C. I'm waiting for someone to say, hey, battle me at Little C, but so far no one has said anything yet. So that's what I'm kind of waiting for, basically. It's what someone say, hey, Little C battle. Whenever that comes by. Let's see, what can we do here? I'm gonna go for Dynamax, Airstream, I guess. Especially since it's choice specs, Airstream. So. But yeah, that's the whole thing about this ledger. I'm on the battle spot, so it's just like I want someone to play me at Little Cup. I do have a team for Little Cup. It just I need someone to battle me at Little Cup. It seems like no one has the time to make a Little Cup team for me to battle with. Which would have been better to deal with. But no. He does have Baton Pass. Darn. Great. I gotta deal with this Pokemon that has Baton Pass. Great. Great. Oh, of course. It's gonna be this particular Pokemon that has Baton Pass. Yay! Yay! I'm just gonna get +2 speed though. +2 speed. Let's get a Shell Smash. Okay, I see what you're trying to do here. Okay. I'm still at +2 speed, so I mean, hey. But hey, yeah. Cool. It's cool. Got another airship to get a +3. Gonna take this out real quick. Nice. So now I'm choice specs. So whatever move I go in, I'll still outspeed and probably get flinching. But I don't know if I really want to do that because another person could. This person could just Dynamax on me though, which would suck. Which would suck. Oh, Toxapex. Perfect Pokemon to not be able to get flinched. when they Dynamax. Great. Awesome. Awesome. So I gotta deal with that. Great. Awesome. GG. I would say this person just got me with a GG. Baneful Bunker. Oh, I'm fine, man. I have a choice. I have a choice spec air slash. Choice spec air slash. That's all I can do. It's choice spec air slash. But he has 2 Pokemon anyway. Either way, he could Dynamax. He could still Dynamax. I won't be able to get the flinch. But it's all well. It's all good. But yeah, like I said, Lantern, until someone could come up with doing a what's the word? Do a Little Cup team, I'll be able to against someone, and let's say gets request the battle for a Little Cup team. Right now, I'm just doing this as a filler thing. Yeah. Flinch. There we go. Nice. That's 2 flinches in a row. That's pretty dope. I mean, this person could go for Baneful Bunker, but it's not gonna affect my physical attack, so. Okay, Dynamax. Not bad. I was kinda like hoping you would do it. Max Geyser. Will Max Geyser do much damage? Max Geyser got nothing on Togekiss. Togekiss is a thick boy. Togekiss is a thick boy. Again, like I said, all I could do is Air Slash into the Meanwhile. Like, it's really nothing I can do here. All I can do is Choice Spec Air Slash. I don't want to switch out or anything. I outspeed this person's Pokemon, so. And all he can do is Max Geyser, which does a pretty good amount of damage. Don't get me wrong. But I am in a position where I can still take his Pokemon out anyway. So, person's gonna lose this match. Wow. Forfeit? Wow. This person forfeit. He's like, nah, there's no point. Forfeit. Wow. Alright. Cool. I actually won a match. Nice. Finally actually win a battle. Finally actually win a battle. I'm out. I'm out. I'm just out. Anyway, can I have someone do a Little Cup battle with? Please? Anyone? Anyone who wants to do a Little Cup battle? That would be great. Oh, so I want to do a cool little art freaking league card. Anyway, anyone wants to battle me and Little Cup, please? Little Cup, anyone wants to battle me and Little Cup? Here's my Little Cup Mons. That's my Little Cup Mons, right there. Crazy little guys here. I have this Galarian Slowpoke. Look at this Galarian Slowpoke. Being all dopey is weird. Then I got this Cub Elephant here. Just chilling. Finnegan. I'm just joking, it's not Finnegan. Scorbunny right here, just chilling as well. We got our Galarian Farfetch. There's Galarian Ponyta back, chilling as well. We got our little Grookey here, nice and Grooking around. Oh hey Grookey, just walking around. Okay, cool. Cool. hustle you over here, Grookey. Hey, Grookey. Just gonna talk to you real quick. Anyway, like I said, I do have a local team. I just need to battle someone who has a local team too. But it's hard. It's hard, man. It's hard finding a person to do this. If someone wants to come in the chat and say, "Oh, yeah, I got a team." Battle. Unless Lantern, you have like a team. I highly doubt you have a team, but I will be expecting you to have a team. Anyway, got a couple of people here. Yada. Let's see. I really want to freaking battle someone today. Why can I not battle anyone today? Why no one wants to play Little Cup? It's such an easy, fun, ridiculous tier. Why? Why? I'm so funny. You know what? Let's get some items. Let's see things. So sorry. Items. What items can we get? Waterstone. Okay. Thunderstone. Okay. That was it. Just 3 treasures. Why? Hearthstone. Okay. Okay. That's it. Wow, that's weak. That's weak, sir. Such a rare bone. Why just the one item? Oh my gosh. It's weird. What do you have for me? Sunstone. Wow, that's lame, sirs. Anyway, anyone, Little Cup, please. Little Cup, please. Little Cup, please. Little Cup. Blah. Got a little cup. Gotta get a little cup. Gotta be in a little cup. Met you. Anyway. Anyway. Why was my mic muted in the Discord chat? That's so weird. Okay. Haha. Anyway. Shit. What can we do? What can we do for at least a good hour and a half? What can we do? Because I mean, eventually I'm gonna have to get ready for work eventually. So I mean, I just want one match with you guys. Just one Little Cup match with you guys. So that's so hard. Who else do I need to pick here? My third slots here. Yes, it was you with the belly drop and the rapid dash. Yeah, I think that's all the members of the team. Huh. I should change the item on Dracofish though. Yeah, I should change the item on Dracofish. I don't know why I have Lumberry. I really don't. I mean, I was predicting someone like not think it would be a fast Pokemon, but I might have to bit Choice Scarf on Dracofish. Alright, here we go. Choice Scarf on Dracofish. So now we got fast, shiny little Dracofish, I guess. I guess. Yeah. Here we go again. Want to battle with someone, a little cup. Want to battle someone, a little cup, little cup. Yep. Little cup. Take some items. Some packed of sausages, okay. Yep, I'm just about to go back into camp. Just check on these Pokemon real quick. Look at this Slowpoke. Galarian Slowpoke. Why you just sit there and not do anything, Slowpoke? Why? I'm about to make a use of this Slowpoke, I really am. I might have to call it over here. Paul's just relaxing with its familiar place. Huh. Interesting. Hello? He like looked around like, wait, hello? Hi, what's up? Alright, just go ahead and speed off, I guess. Hey! Hey! Arya! Arya! Hey! Okay. Doesn't want to talk to me. She doesn't want to talk to me. Arya! Get over here, Arya. There's Arya. Arya, come back here. What's up, Arya? What are you doing, Arya? Uh-huh. Go play, Arya. Oh, you don't want to go play. Okay. There you go. Go ahead and go play. Where's DJ going? DJ! DJ, what are you doing? Come here, DJ. Come here, DJ. What are you doing, DJ? DJ Pony. DJ Pony. Go play, DJ Pony. need to, but okay. Seriously, no one wants to battle? Wait. Hello. Hello. Hello, hello. Um, do you have... Do I have what? A Marmatus? No, wait, do I have a Marmatus? Gotta check. Gotta check. Do I have a Marmatus? Aromatisse, 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 aromatisse. Mm. Mm. I do not have aromatisse, Hustler Puff. Yeah, I think I don't have. Yeah, I don't have it. That I did, but I don't have it with this. Do not have aromatisse. I need to like encounter aromatisse though. Eventually, whenever if anyone wants to put up like an actual like freaking raid for it, looking for a raid for that one. Yeah, I don't have aromatisse. I kinda like almost didn't collect any of these Pokemon lately. I need to start collecting all these Pokemon. Like I literally still have like a half a dex when it comes to the game, so I just need to really like eventually start collecting Pokemon. For right now, I really just want to do Little Cup, and I already have this team set to Little Cup, so I just want to do it. Uh, hopefully, since another YouTuber is streaming right now, we could probably try to see if he can do Little Cup, if he could get the Pokemon that he needs. Hmm. How would I explain this to him? Like, he could try to make his team real quick. and do a little cup battle. But yeah, I mean, like I said, uh, we could do a little cup, but I feel like we could do a free for all if anyone wants to do a free for all. But uh, I'm hoping that everybody knows what Lily Cup is too. Like, again, it's not that hard. It's not that difficult. I got Aya Stark, the Farfetch. I got King Kazuma, the Scorpion. I got Otto, Super Robot. I'm just joking. I don't, if you guys know what Otto is, then you're fine. This is Otto the Grookey though, and if you know the nickname, you should know. We got Paul the Slow Poke. If you know where the nickname from that is, awesome. You're a trooper. You follow that one YouTuber who goes by that, who named his Slowpoke that. And that's the only hint I'm giving you. We got DJ Pony. But I do not know. I mean, you probably guys know this. If you're a fan, you know. Do I really need to do the Twitch? Do I really? I feel like I shouldn't, but I feel like I should. Yeah, because I can hear. I'm watching your stream with my earphones, and that's why I can hear you, so you can hear me. But see, this is the thing. Here's the thing, sure. The reason why I don't stream on Twitch is because I use I have the YouTube set up to stream on my OBS, and the only time I actually stream on Twitch is I'm using Call of Duty or any other game from like my PS4. So that's why I kind of like stream that type of stuff on Twitch if necessary. um, I'm still trying to figure out how to do that exactly. Mm-hmm. But I just realized I do have a here we are. I have this Lapras, this Dynamax Lapras. I mean this G-Max Lapras. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I think it have like great IVs too. Best IVs from HP to the special defense. So that's good. Alright. Some more people are going. Yeah. Anyway, back to our little cup team here. Again, real easy way of again leveling up your little cup Pokemon is basically buy rare candy. Simple as that. Again, you have egg moves to use when you're breeding your Pokemon. You also have TMs and TR moves to also add to your Pokemon. Any Pokemon that, any moves that are level up to 5 you can use. But a lot of people prefer to use TR moves, TM moves, or egg moves instead of like the level 1 move to level 5 move. Because it's a much better, you're getting a much better damage comparison to other moves, which is cool, which is great. Speaking of that, let's just get, I want to see if I can get what you call it on a call actually. Can we get him on a voice call? Can we get him on a voice call? Let's just see. Can we get you on voice call? Is it working? Let's see. Hello, hello. Don't hear it. Is my settings wrong? No, the settings are right. Load or enable the hurry. Okay. So maybe if I invite you to my Discord, and maybe that will work. Let's go ahead and invite you to my Discord. See if that will work. Alright, let me just send you to my podcast Discord. And then maybe I could possibly explain a little bit more on Little Cup stuff. I mean, again, like I said, there's ways to explain it, and how would I completely explain this in a way like that would make sense? Trying to think about it. Trying to think about it right now exactly how it will work. Because you could go to Smogon, or you could go to Showdown, basically. Smogon or Showdown. I think Smogon would explain exactly what it is and how you would do it. because it is Smogon. Um, you can also just look it up on Bulbapedia, but Smogon does kind of explain partial what it is and how partial it is, the rules and how to do it. Also, I do have a description that explains it as well. But we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna search it up on my webpage here. I can't bring it up here because again, something's off with my OBS lately, so I don't know why certain things won't show. But let me just look it up here. Just gonna type in Smogon LC being Little Cup. Okay, open up the strategy guide. Let's see what we got here. Alright, so Little Cup is a format where players use only Pokemon that has that a Pokemon that have not evolved yet. It should say it like that, but have not yet evolved. Are capable of evolving when are attainable at level 5 in game. So if you breed, saying you breed again Scorbunny, Grookey, or Sobble, basically they're basically considered Little Cup Pokemon as a baby or basic form of a Pokemon before it evolves into a bigger Pokemon, a teenager Pokemon, or an adult Pokemon. However you refer it to. Pokemon that you breed starts at level 5. It starts at level 1. Previous games it's level 5, but from basically from this one it's gonna be level 1. You can have matches starting out with level 1 Pokemon, and you and your opponent will have to have level 1 Pokemon if you want to do little stuff like that. But the max level is 5 when it comes to Little Cup. Here on Smogon rules, you do have certain Pokemon that are not allowed to be in Little Cup, but it's one of those things for Little Cup where it's like you can make the rules of however you want to use the rules for the Little Cup, so you don't have to go based off of what they're saying for Little Cup. For like Pokemon that you feel like shouldn't be used in Little Cup. Let's see. There's Kirby, Corsola, Ghastly, Gotorita, Sneasel, and Swirlix. These are Pokemon that are supposed not to be used in Little Cup, even though they're Little Cup Pokemon, I guess because they feel like they're too broken in Little Cup, you can't use them in Little Cup. But besides the point, we can make the rules and allow every Little Cup Pokemon to be used in here because they're still considered a Little Cup Pokemon. And because I guess they go into a higher tier, that's why it's considered bad, but we're gonna ignore that. There's also moves like basically like that you cannot use, like Baton Pass. We're also gonna ignore Baton Pass because uh, the thing about Baton Pass, the reason why I'm ignoring Baton Pass again is because of how the Pokemon Company is allowing you to use Baton Pass. So we're pretty much going by company rules. Baton Pass can be used. Uh, Abilities like Moldy cannot be used. Again, still gonna allow it. Uh, Players that cannot use Dynamax in the lookup. Again, this is another reason why I might not allow Dynamax in most battles, or like for Little Cup. I feel like I should use. I feel like again, like you need to know exactly where the balance is when it comes to Dynamax. So I'm gonna allow Dynamax to be used in Little Cup. I just feel like maybe we shouldn't use it. That's my give and take on that. Let's see what else. So again, you have Alphatin that's considered a baby Pokemon. Axew considered Pokemon that's pretty much baby. Uh, Anything from, because even then you also have a list here on Smogon explaining what are baby Pokemon and what the baby Pokemon look like. Because there's a list here. Uh, Easy examples of what a baby Pokemon looks like. So it's cool. Um, so you can like know what teams you're trying to make as a Pokemon. Again, like I said, when it comes to tutors or TMs or like egg moves, it's depending on what the Pokemon get as an egg move or what the Pokemon get as a TM move, or can this Pokemon learn this particular move from 1 to level 5. That's illegal set moves basically. um Again, like I said, people prefer to use TMs and TR moves to teach to the Pokemon to give it a bit better moveset when dealing with other little cup Pokemon. Also, egg moves that could be good and viable for you to have when you're breeding a Pokemon to getting the egg move. That also would be viable. Like again, like you have what you call it? What is this Pokemon here? Basically either between like Slowpoke, basically an example of Slowpoke being having the move Belly Drum. Perfect example, because Slowpoke can't get Belly Drum, but it is an egg move. So you will have to breed a Pokemon with Slowpoke to getting that egg move. Like you, if you had the, and then you also have to know what, I guess, A group Slowpoke and that other Pokemon will have in that moveset to get that moveset. So saying like, let me hit it here. Saying this guy is a perfect example. Yeah. So basically saying like, if I would have had this ice Pokemon right here has the move Belly Drum. I could breed this Pokemon with Slowpoke to getting Belly Drum. Basically the way, so you have to have like a female Slowpoke, because the only way you could get another Slowpoke is having a female Slowpoke. So you will breed the male with the female, and it will pass over the egg move Belly Drum. To getting a Belly Drum ice Pokemon like this is you gotta breed this ice Pokemon with another Pokemon that will carry Belly Drum as well. Um, and then it just passes on the move, and then eventually you'll get to that point where, okay, now I can breed Paul and get the move Belly Drum, basically. Same thing with Ponyta. Ponyta could learn Horn Drill naturally, but it's like a higher which it's like a so like a certain point in the level he learns Horn Drill, but you could pass that down to a baby Pokemon so it can learn pretty early. So all you gotta do is like get Rapidash, get Ditto, and then you could just pass down Horn Drill, and then there you go, Ponyta has Horn Drill. Now you get an Egg move Horn Drill. So now you get a one hit KO move, and then whatever moveset that you want to add with it using TRs or any move that it can level up to level 5, basically. Uh, that's how egg moves work. I mean, like once you like figure out what Pokemon you want, what kind of moves you want for the Pokemon is either between egg moves or TR moves. Usually not a lot of people use one of the level 1s to level 5. Depends on how your strategy goes. It's pretty simple. A lot of people feel like it might take a long time to figure out the teams and how to breed the teams. It shouldn't take you that long to breed the teams, because like I said, the way this particular match works is you don't have to worry about the IVs or EVs. So you can have a random set of IVs, a random set of EVs. You don't really have to worry about EV training, because it's just a casual tournament. It's like a casual little cup play, but you still have to figure out the moves that you want, the items you want. Depending if you really want to focus on nature, you could do that, but there's no need for that. Then you gotta figure out the items that you want to give to your Pokemon. You also gotta figure out what abilities you want to give your Pokemon as well. That's another thing. Saying like Steadfast, Aria here. Like you could use Steadfast so your Pokemon won't get flinched. So any Pokemon that may have like an egg move that allows the flinch, you won't be able to get flinch, and then you probably get boosted in speed and whatnot. You also have Gluttony, another really good ability that this Pokemon has. I mean, I wish I would have had the old Temple one instead of the Gluttony one, but since I got Belly Drum, it's perfect. It's Belly Drum. It's perfect. You get a +6 Belly Drum. I got Gluttony as an ability. I can eat the berry faster, and then be able to get a +6 attack with full health, and then be able to do a stab psychic move or whatever. Easy peasy. There's this one I feel like needs to be changed, but the whole point of this ability, you're here for my DJ Pony, is basically having to do with the fact that it can sense dangerous moves. So honestly, it's good and it's not good. Like, of course, you're a psychic type Pokemon. You're gonna sense what, like ghost, bug type of stuff. Like, yes, I know you have weakness to these type, these type moves, but or it could sense like a one-hit KO move from another Pokemon that might have a one-hit KO move from an egg move. You know, that typical thing. Then you also have, let's see, Sheer Force, which is a good move in its own right. Sheer Force helps you have more increasing power in your attacks. It's supposed to remove additional effects. So saying like you have, what's the move considered? Saying you have a move that does flinching or whatever, or does, lower your stats or whatever. You do that, you get an increasing power, but then if you have Life Orb, you don't get Life Orb damage, basically. But if you wouldn't have Life Orb, you wouldn't have to deal with the effects of Superpower or Iron Head or what you call it, Rock Slide. But since Life Orb increases your attack, you don't have to really deal with you know any weaknesses to Life Orb, basically, because Life Orb gets negated by your sheer force, that type of stuff, basically. So that's kind of how you go about abilities and whatnot and items. There's also, let's see, we have Citrus Berry. I know there was another item for, it was supposed to be berry juice. I don't even think we have berry juice in this game. But berry juice was like another like particular item that was used a lot in the Little Cup, and it's supposed to like heal you back to like 20 HP. If you get like knocked down for a certain percentage, it should just automatically heal you back up to 20 HP. You know, I have not come across that particular item at all, so I don't even think the item exists in this game. So that kind of sucks. But you have either between the berry juice item, or again you have Citrus Berry. That's a good item for healing your Pokemon. Again, you also have the Figgy Berry. The thing about Figgy Berry, the only good thing about Figgy Berry is if you're boosting your movesets and it drops down your HP or whatever, that's the only way you can get healed back up to full or half full, basically. So that's why I have Paul with that belly drum set, because you have to self-inflict yourself with a stat boost, like a stat boost, and then get your power back to like your HP back up to a full health. So that's how that works. But yeah, again, Little Cup is simple. Again, like I said, Rare Candy is the only way you should level up these Pokemon pretty fast to level 5. Or, here's a better example of leveling up your Pokemon. Again, you could do Rare Candy, it levels up your Pokemon pretty fast. Or, you go back to the first town, right? You go back to the first town, and you can level up your Pokemon in the first town back up to level 5. Basically, you go to the first town, you head to the woods here, and once you enter the woods here, the Slumbering Woods, you just go onto one of the Pokemon. The Pokemon are either like level 2 or level 3, whatever, and you just train in that area. You can level up your Pokemon real quick and real fast, and you get the Pokemon that you need at level 5. If you feel like it's not gonna do as much as you need to, you can still be here in the first town area. You can go down here, to Route 1, battle one of the Pokemon in the grass here. Now, the reason why I feel like you shouldn't battle the Pokemon in here, again, because sometimes it may be a level 5 Pokemon, it might be a level 6 or level 7, so you shouldn't be dealing with Pokemon like that. That's why you go to the Slumbering Woods anyway, the Slumbering Woods, just to deal with that, basically. Just to level up your Pokemon in that part of the area. Again, like I said, you also have rare candies. So if you collect enough rare candies, you should be fine. Just level these Pokemon up to level 5. I think, honestly, you should be able to, let's see, because I think rare candies, you should only use, let's see, because you're starting at level 1, you only need 5 rare candies to level up your Pokemon. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So yeah, about 30 candies, like the Mr. I'm not sure, not too sure said, like you only need like about 30 rare candies, and you could pretty much get that from, you could get rare candies from raids, or you could do get rare candies from the what was it called, I mean, you could get it from from the store or from the market area. I think it was the, let me go up here. It's yeah, it's in Hammerlock. You go to Hammerlock basically, and you go into the daycare, and if you have a good decent amount of battle points, you just could go to this person here, and she's like the battle shop area. You could get, it's 20 battle points for rare candy. So you could get rare candy from that, or you could do raids and get the rare candies that you need. And most people probably will prefer doing the raids because raids are faster. But if you could get enough rare, items to get rare candies, that's a plus. Get like enough battle points to get rare candies, that's fine. But again, one of those things yet again is to just do the raids on that. But yeah, yeah, that's how Look Up works. Real easy, real squeezy. Huh? You got another Mew milk? Nice. Yeah, yeah. Again, it's not difficult. It's pretty easy. Again, if you wanna battle me in a little tough battle, it's pretty much, again, like I said, most easiest thing to do. Level up your Pokemon is much easiest thing to do. I know it's not everyone's thing to do, but if you just try it, at least once or twice, you'll be like, oh, this is not that bad. It's pretty cool. Uh, it's like building regular Pokemon, but you're building Pokemon at a level 5. Let's see what we got here. Got some notifications about stuff. Okay. Nope, that's more notifications. Notifications. Oh, okay. There was just some other extra stuff that I needed to like mark off. Anyway, like I said, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, not that difficult to do Little Cup. It's just like, you just like, and if you want to make teams and you want to know exactly what teams you really want to make, again, go to Showdown, and you can just build a Little Cup team. Since they do have a tier for Little Cup, you can build a Little Cup team and figure out what Little Cup Pokemon you could use in that setting, and whatever Pokemon you make as a team there, you can build it as a team. Again, one of those things. Yeah, so if anyone wants to try to do a battle for, do a Little Cup battle, definitely let me know in the comments. I mean, let me know on the chat here, because I'm gonna still be here and pretty much waiting for anybody to send me here in the chat that they want to do a little cup, and we could do a little cup. I'm just gonna go ahead, let the music run, and I'll just be here in silent, and you guys can just look at the Pokemon doing their weird little things here and whatnot until someone here on the chat lets me know that they want to do a little cup. Again, I'm gonna probably be streaming until it hits 3 o'clock. So if you want to do it anywhere between the 3 o'clock time, just let me know in the chat. I'll still have the chat up here. I'm still looking at the chat. So just go ahead and let me know, you know, and I'll unmute my mic and you guys can hear me again, and we can start doing some requests, basically. Alright, gonna go ahead and mute the mic. Oh, 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 he's back. He is back. Nice. So, did you make a little team? Oh, wait. Oh, you mute? Wait, for a battle? Yeah, are you back for a battle? Oh, you need to still make a little cup team? Okay. Yeah, I was just like waiting, honestly. uh, yeah, I was just gonna like wait here until like almost 3 to basically, because eventually I'm gonna get ready for work. But I'm pretty much just waiting here for 3 for anyone to actually make a little cup team. I kind of like explained it mostly earlier, what it's about and whatnot. What? See what you been up to lately? Yeah, just again, like I said, it was just like kind of like pretty much checking the, explaining what the little cup was all about, basically, and then just wanted to like wait until basically until someone wants to like say something in the chat that they want to battle in a little cup. Yeah, like I said, it's kind of easy for that, and explaining how to get rare candies and whatnot, or how to like level up your Pokemon to level 5 by having to do the rare candies as well. But I mean, it might take more time to do leveling up naturally instead of using rare candies. Look up looks fun. Have you not done much of ranking in this generation? Or I did ranking. I got up to Great Ball, and then I ended up falling back. And it's probably because I don't have the right team that I need in ranking lately. But it's been like a hit or miss. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with ranking. I feel like it's like a hit or miss for ranking. That's why I kind of want to do Little Cup right now, because at least this is something that's a little bit more fun to do, and it's a more like casual playing with other people. That's what I'm hoping to do with Little Cup, is bring that to the channel, make it a more casual play, playing with a lot of other people who would enjoy a more casual play with Little Cup, and not have to worry that much into a competitive scene. Yeah, like a couple of years since it was a thing, in on YouTube a couple of years ago. Because I know like other YouTubers. Oh my God, did my Discord just disconnected? And it just reconnected. Okay, okay. Request, but still no one has decided that they wanted to challenge me in a Little Cup. Even like the people that I played against before, who used to be doing Little Cup, has never like hit me back up yet. So I don't know. Again, like I explained to everybody that this is more of a casual play because you don't have to really worry about the whole EV training or worry about IVs. You can have perfect IVs, you could probably have not perfect IVs, but we're not really worried about the EVs here because it's just really not a thing. Again, like I said, I'm trying to make this. It's a competitive setting, but it's not at the same time. Basically, um, let's see. The nice part about Little Cup is I could likely make a team and the next in like half an hour. Yeah, like I said, it's not that difficult to make a Little Cup team. Again, it's one of those things where uh, like I was saying, like it shouldn't take you that long to make a Little Cup team. Maybe like have to do this or that, make like breed a Pokemon, and then eventually get something out of it or something like that. But there's really no need for it. There's really no need to really make a team. It shouldn't take you that long to make a team. And then having to make a Pokemon up to level 100 just to do the whole EV training or whatever IV training and whatnot. You don't really have to worry about that stuff even when it comes down to it. So, again, another good reason why it's so easy to do Little Cup compared to a full hundred, full level Pokemon that you know for sure that it's gonna take you hours to do, when you can just breed a Pokemon. You already have the egg move that you wanted. You can put TMs on it, level up to level 5 by using either rare candies or going back to Route 1 or probably in the Slumbering Woods area. Level up your Pokemon to level 5, teach it TMs, teach it TRs, give it the item that it needs, and then bam, easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Hello. Uh, your name is Petro. I have a shiny Charizard, and I'm trading with what shiny you have. What shiny do you have?
Honestly, awesome that you have a shiny Charizard. Uh, Shinies are trash. I mean, I don't think shinies are trash. Shinies are unique, but shiny Charizard, I do not have shinies to trade. Honestly, I have not got to the point of making any shiny Pokemon, like breeding any shiny Pokemon at this late. Again, this is more of a situation where I'm kind of like more focused on doing Little Cup. Period. Not really doing any trading at this moment in time. I just want to do a fun Little Cup thing. Like, no, I have a shiny trash, Trubbish. Hello. So yeah, yeah, like the whole content of this live stream is just to do Little Cup. Well, do you have Little Cup Pokemon? Do you have Pokemon that are level 5? Did you read the rules that are in the description? So then I could just give an example of how a Little Cup battle would go. could give that example, and everybody would know how Little Cup is. Again, I do have old videos on Little Cup, but again, this is again like I said, it's more of a friendly Little Cup battle where don't have to worry about the EVs. Nature, you could have a nature. You don't really have to worry about it. Why is my OBS Studios disconnecting and reconnecting for some reason? I'm gonna have to take it on the studio mode. You could Dynamax. It has to be a baby Pokemon. For sure, if you know what a baby Pokemon is, or a basic Pokemon, then you're good. And then basically, like any Pokemon that has an evolution will be considered a baby Pokemon. So not a teenager Pokemon, not an adult Pokemon, okay? So you gotta understand between what a teenager Pokemon is and an adult Pokemon. So any teenager Pokemon, that would be the middle stage evolution. Any adult Pokemon will be considered the final evolution. So you shouldn't have any Pokemon that is considered a teenager Pokemon, a final evolution Pokemon, or I would say adult Pokemon that does not have a pre-evolution, or a adult evolution Pokemon is not allowed because it's just one stage Pokemon and it needs to have a evolution to consider it a baby Pokemon. It needs a pre-evolution to consider it a adult Pokemon or a teenager Pokemon in that title. Again, like I said, I have the examples right here of what baby Pokemon look like. Grookey, Scorbunny, Farfetch, Slowpoke, Topay, where is it? Where's Ponyta? Yeah, I have what you consider is a baby Pokemon. But yeah, like I said, if you have Pokemon, if you have Little Cup Pokemon, this is what we're doing, and this is how we're gonna play it. Again, the rules example is level 5 and whatnot. Okay, can I put it back in studio mode? Is studio mode okay? I feel like studio mode is not okay with me having it on studio mode. Oh yes, let me just fix your rules here. Your roles, your roles. You're a YouTuber, and what other? I know there's another in your YouTube member. Yada yada yada. I feel like putting like a Twitch thing here as well for anybody who does Twitch streaming or whatnot. But there we go. So now you have those two roles as a YouTuber and a PokeTuber roles. Yeah. So we got that. I feel like I explained pretty much generally everything to how Little Cup works. For like the second time of repeating myself about how Little Cup works. And then again, items. What's to say about items? There's so many items that you could work into this, so many like abilities that you could work into this. Again, like the Pokemon House Leak, Citrus Berry, Bright Powder, Clingy Berry, what is it? What is that? White Lance, Life Orb.
But there's actually quite a lot to think about.
Well, yeah, it's like I said, like when you do like if you're in a situation where you do like if you want to like bring up Showdown, then it's easy to make the team. Basically, if you do showdown, you can make the team and you can figure out what Pokemon you favor to making, basically, as a little cup Pokemon, and then you could go into the whole, okay, what abilities I want. I mean, yes, you're still gonna still think like any like regular. Uh, it's like you're still building a regular team, but with just little Pokemon. And again, the only thing you don't have to worry about is the whole IV, I mean the EVs or the IVs, the natures as much, basically. Because all you have to really worry about is abilities, having to have it at level 5, knowing the fact that it is a little cup Pokemon that you can use. And there's probably like only 2 moves that are banned, basically. So Sonic Boom and Dragon Rage is those are 2 moves that are bad, but one hit KO moves are not bad. Just your general basis of how you should think about making a team, where it shouldn't be able to put too much thought into it, compared to like all the extra stuff that you gotta eventually like feel like you want to put thought into, but you don't really have to put thought into it. If that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's a lot, but it shouldn't be a lot. I know like a lot of people feel like it might be a lot to think about, but then when you really like go through the process of doing it, because for me, I was like, oh, I want the starters, I want the starters to be in the little cup. I grabbed 2 starters to be in the little cup. I didn't grab 3 stars to be in the little cup. I just picked the 2 starters because I think as a these 2 would do good in a little cup compared to the 3rd starter. That's why I have 2 of the starters. Now I could change these 2, but for like the type coverage, I kind of wanted Score Bunny and I kind of wanted Grookey. I mean, I definitely need a water member, but I was like, oh, I could use Slowpoke, but Slowpoke is not a water type Pokemon anymore. It's a pure Psychic type. I guess I will have a water type Pokemon. Can any other Pokemon learn water moves? Maybe I need water. I probably don't need water. I don't. It's one of those things. Like you have to like go in, randomly pick, or you could do like a random generator or whatever, and just randomly pick the Pokemon that you could get from out of that random generator, and then be able to select your Pokemon and then breed those Pokemon. Figure out what the moves or items that you can use for that Pokemon. And there you go. Level up to 5. Get it. But yeah, I mean, again, it seems like it's a lot of thought to go into it, but then it's like, I think you're doing the same good amount of thinking when you're making. I feel like it's more thought for regular Pokemon, like fully adult Pokemon. It seems like a lot. Okay, yeah, my studio is tripping right now. It keeps doing it. Yeah, my studio is being weird, so I just can't have it on my studio. Then is your main concern. Either having the certain ability that you want is your 3rd concern. Having egg moves or whatever TM moves you want to use should be your 4th concern. and then items will be like your fifth. Like 5 things that you need to really consider into making the Pokemon. Is it illegal for it to be in the Little Cup? Can I use this in the Little Cup? Can I not use this in the Little Cup? Which seems like it may be like a long process, but in case it's not, it's not. Now I kind of feel like titling this is how to do Little Cup as a stream in a stream. But hey, it's fun. It's I like kind of like teaching about this particular tier, and again, like I said, I want to get this back on the channel, and I really want more people to do Little Cup because again, to do a more fun and entertaining type of content and have more people enjoy this particular play style of battling is the main goal here, is to have people enjoy this particular battle style instead of joining like ranking. And I'm hoping that the Pokemon Company does bring that back into ranking too, because they, like I said, they did it one time. They did was it a they did a PGL. I guess they did an online global like ranking for it at one time, and I was thinking that was in like the Sun and Moon or Sun and Ultra Moon is when they did ranking for that, and I also have like videos on that. But again, they will have to bring it back, and it was just like I need. This is another reason why I want to start doing Little Cup again, so more people will get more involved into it, where they could get the company to bring it back in a way, because I feel like it was good. Now we need it back. We need to bring Little Cup back. Little Cup needs to get back into the fold of things. Especially again, like this is a more fun, casual play. And you can make a tournament. I think, can you make a tournament on here? I don't think you can make a tournament on here. I would like to make a tournament on here, like a ranking tournament on here. For that, like, is it on live competitions? Can you like make that in live competitions? Let's see. No, y'all think you make this in like live competitions? Can you make that in live competitions though? Like, or like battles, like the. Let's see. Let's see. I don't think. I think you have to get the rules for it though. Or you might have to go to the global. I feel like you might have to go to the Pokemon.com and then get like a global thing and do it. Because I remember how they was able to set up certain rules or whatever for this. No, they don't have it. Dang, they don't have it. Okay, so Galar Newcomers. That's funny. Galar Newcomers. Shoot, I don't know. Like, I feel like if you could make a online competition thing, that would be dope. What is this? How did you find that? How did you find this? Oh, search for friendly competition or host a friendly competition. Dude! Yes! What? Hello? Awesome. We could do that. Nice. So it's Little Cup. Little Cup, okay. Little Cup. LA went all there and there. Okay. Or let's just say title is LC because it's faster and quicker. LC. add to the competition. Okay. Rules. Again, rules are unexplainable, so we're just gonna do no restrictions. So, cause we can't do we can't do singles normal rules because it will set everything to level 50. This is why we don't do normal rules. We do singles, uh, no restriction, so we can have level 5. Or we could do oh, doubles, doubles. Okay. It'll be doubles no restriction, which is good. We can have it for. You can say like how long the actual friendly competition will be. Um, should I have it to the 25th or the 24th? Let's have it to the 25th. No, 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 no. The starting competition will start the 2016. I mean, it'll start the 16th, then it will end on the 25th. Or no, it will start on the 20th. So I guess it's for like that one day. Okay, the period of time will start. No, 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 no. The time that it starts. The time that it starts, and then we have to figure out the time that it ends. I'll say it will start at 1 o'clock. So it could be like a 3-hour thing, basically. Okay, cool. So starts at 1, ends at 3:59. Um, you have, huh? Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Times and sets. Uh, I'll stick with the 5 to like do whatever, whatever. People who can enter. Everyone. Hold on, guys. I gotta. Enter. Um. Shoot. Should I have everyone can enter this? Cause only trader. Yeah, yeah. I might as well have everyone can enter. The max time that you could like battle each. I guess it could be. I'll say the max times you could battle is 25. No, max battle you could pretty much play against a person. It would be 20. 20 for a good 3 hours. At least a good 3 hours worth. Yeah, 20 is a good 3 hours worth. Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think so. So this is gonna be LC. I'm just gonna have to title this as Little Club. Honestly, I'm just gonna say LC. Actually, back button. LC. Little Cup. Alright. LC Little Cup. Doubles. There you go. Nice. Awesome. Let's see. Do you want to add a subtitle to the name your competition. To name your competition. Again, Little Cup. I guess we're just gonna just rename it to Little Cup. I guess for a subtitle. Again, it's still considered Little Cup there and there, but we're just gonna just double down on Little Cup. Or this is what we do. Actually, this is what we do. This is what we do. No, 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 no. We'll just, yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and do just a Little Cup here. Cause I was thinking about how I want to do that for the subtitle, but I don't think it'll fit for like 36 letters. It's not gonna fit all on here, so there's no point in doing that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's how we're gonna do it. All right, nice. So this competition will start on the 16th. All right. We're gonna take a screenshot of that. So that's how that's gonna be. Pretty much is. I feel like it might need the rules here. It might need the rules. I might feel like I might have to like redo this again just to fit the rules here. But yeah, as long as everybody knows it's like level 5 for Little Cup, then that's fine. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure there's gonna be like whatever. But it's gonna be on the 16th. So since this is what day is it right now? It's the 15th, so it will be for tomorrow. This will start tomorrow at 1. And that means for in online at 1 o'clock we'll be able to basically on here playing a Little Cup match, and that's like 11 for me. Yeah, it's pretty much gonna be like 11 o'clock for you. What else? What else? And I mean, I feel like I'm gonna share this. I think I could probably get the link here, and then I'll be able to share the link. I'm just gonna try to see if I could screenshot that too, because I really want to screenshot that. Participate in friendly competition. Okay, so we could participate in the friendly competition. Let me pick my Pokemon here. Where's my party? Party Pokemon. Wait, I can't put my party Pokemon in here? Wow. So, another thing you need to know when doing this, you only can use your Battle Box team. So if you ever want to do this and add your Pokemon on here, you gotta do a Battle Box team. That's the only way you could do anything on here for that. Alright, I'm just gonna have to back out real quick and move my Little Cup team into my battle team here. Do, 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 do. Bam. So I'm gonna have to remove a battle box team here. Let's see, battle box team 1. Let's go ahead and remove you. Okay, so we kind of removed most of the battle box team here, so that's good. That's good. Now we go back to the party. Now what we're gonna do here is gonna select all our Pokemon here to here. Alright. Then we're gonna grab this Pokemon to place in our party to move this Pokemon back over here. Then we go back to our battle box team here, and bam, start registering our Pokemon here into the battle box team. Nice, awesome, GG, fast, pace. That's how we do it. Go back to versus. Go back to the battle stadium. Go back to online competitions. Go back to the friendly competitions here. Check the regulations. Add the Pokemon. There's an issue. How is there an issue with the battle team? How is there an issue with the battle team? There aren't any issues with the battle team. Oh, okay. Basically, it was just checking if there was any issues with the. That's what it says. Check teams. I'm so stupid. I'm like, wait, what? This makes no sense. Why can I not select these? What am I doing that I'm not like looking at here? Does it say that to all the other ones? Okay, it does say that to the other ones. Okay. So what I need to do is somehow register. Can I don't know what I'm doing. This is a friendly competition. I don't know. Do we have official? We don't have any official ones. So this okay. Trying to figure out how we would do this exactly. Trying to figure out how would this work, because it's not like how Sun and Moon and how that was set up. Can I go to live competitions? Maybe I have to receive my digital ID from my live competitions? Is that what I might have to do? Is that the case? Oh shoot, I should be getting ready. While that just waiting. download and receive the information that I need, I'll just let music play in the background, I guess. You know what? I'm pretty sure I already have this. I don't know why it's taking forever, but I feel like I know I have this already. I know I have. Wait, should I go to? Wait, hold on. Hold the phone, man. Going way too fast. Because I probably already have this all wrong. Maybe, maybe not. But if possible, and I'm gonna be like highly likely, but if possible, depending on how long it takes to connect to the online server, let's go to live competition so we could disconnect and whatnot. Go to host a live competition. Go watch battles. I forgot there's watch battles here. That's interesting. You could do this. Set rules. Again, rules again. This is. I guess this is would be considered on a. It's still not considered a live. This is more of a local type of battle scenario, which is kind of weird. How local, like live competition is just local competition. You're not really hosting anything live. It's just like hosting if something was local. But if you want to host a live competition with the internet live, you have to go to this basically, right? Go to your your online competitions. Go to friendly competitions, and then you got your friendly competitions here, which makes sense. But you can't battle in this friendly competition because the competition hasn't started yet. So I guess it helps out. You just need to like farm. Like all you have to do is basically just let people know that there's a friendly LC live competition that's gonna be happening on the 16th, and then just all you have to do is pretty much click it because it is for everyone to play it. Pretty much just let everybody know that there is a friendly live LC competition, and yada yada yada. When, what time? I will share this on my Twitter though. That's for sure. I'm definitely gonna share that on my Twitter. Let me see. Album. We're gonna go ahead and select the photo here. We're gonna click A for selecting to post it. And we're just gonna like share that on Twitter. And then we're gonna go to this one, and then we're gonna share that second half of it onto Twitter. So that's how we're gonna do that. That's basically how we're gonna do that. We're gonna share that on Twitter, take those images from Twitter and then basically wherever we're gonna eventually take those pictures from Twitter, put them onto the aminos, and then we're gonna have that on a Pokemon amino, and then use that to uh, have people get on there on that once it comes out. But again, I'll try that. It might work, it might not. We might have people who wouldn't do it again, but it's cool. So again, hopefully tomorrow it goes down this way. Hopefully tomorrow it does go down this way, where we have people doing the lookup. I retweeted. Yeah, I saw that. Thanks. Get get talking to people on Twitter. Yeah. Uh, let's see. We need a good 6 to 8 people. True, we do need at least a good 6 to 8 people doing it. Maybe even more, just in case. We might even need more. But it's gonna be good. It's gonna be pretty good. I mean, you get like a good 20 battles out of the day, most likely. So you get like a max 20 battles a day of that day for 3 hours. So it's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah. Let's see. Time is 3:15. I guess I could go ahead and end the stream here. I got like an hour before heading into work, so I guess I could just go ahead and end the stream here. We just set up like a friendly competition on the server, so by tomorrow we could start doing some, I guess, competitions. And again, like I said, hopefully I can get everybody on the aminos to do it. That would be dope. Try to have people on Twitter to probably be able to retweet it. Have people on Twitter to think about doing it as well. I'll probably have other Discords. I'll probably share it onto Discord and see if they'll do it as well. But yeah, before I keep rambling on, see you guys. Thanks for coming up to the live stream. And yeah, bye.